Uh, no, pretty quiet actually. Just here with the family, so it's been better. Yeah.
Yeah. What you've been doing? What interviews all afternoon? Though I imagine.
No, not today. There was a bunch last week. So today was just a few, just a few. I've
Wicked.
just been busy with other things, really, just general life and stuff like that, So
Yeah. So you live in Birmingham, correct?
yeah, I live in Birmingham, not far from the airport. Lived here for about 25 years, something like that. Yeah.
I guess I have to ask, I mean, you travel the world and see amazing places, and you live in Birmingham, which is probably the closest I've come to hell.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things, isn't it? I mean, I'm from a small countryside village about 40 miles away. Moved here, yes, 1990, and I guess I'd like to live elsewhere, but I haven't really got around to it, unfortunately. So I'd like
Well,
to live in Australia. I'd like to live in the States. I'd like to live in Australia. I'd like to live in Japan, and it's just one of them things you just don't. I got a
yeah.
family here. My wife's Japanese, and yeah, I mean, we debate. She debates it all the time with me because I don't think she really likes Birmingham very much herself, really. So, well, we'll see. Never know.
Yeah, I mean, so you've not been to New Zealand before, have you?
Yeah, we did. We went
Oh,
to we played we played once in first time was 1996.
oh yeah.
Was it 96? Yeah, 96 in Auckland, and then we went back. I think 2007
Really?
was yeah. We played two shows. We played Wellington. We played
Oh,
Auckland. So yeah, it's a long time since we've been down. Long
yeah.
time. So
Are you
I'm looking
gonna,
forward to getting in there.
yeah, are you gonna spend much time down here?
We're gonna have a few days off after Auckland. I'm gonna go and be a bit of a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I was about to say, go visit Hobbiton.
I'm going down there and yeah, being a geek and
Fair enough.
hanging out for a day. And of course, to get a friend of ours, he looks like a hobbit, so he'll feel at home anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down there. Had some amazing fish and chips last time I was in Wellington, so I'm looking forward to that. Really,
Oh yes, the New
I'm a
Zealand's.
I'm a simple man when it comes to that kind of thing. Yeah,
I think it's probably New Zealand's largest export.
yeah,
Around, yeah. Okay. I must have been. I think I was abroad in 2007, so I must have missed when you were
yeah.
last. Yeah.
I'm sure that's the second time we played, and yeah, we haven't been down since. I mean, I loved it. It was great. We didn't get to spend too much time, but I have a whole friend of mine. She moved down there. She got married. She got married down there. She loves it down there. So, yeah.
Yeah, it has its moments. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but politically is not so. I mean, obviously, you guys are fairly political for a metal band, which is increasingly rare. And some of the issues you touch on in Apex Predator is happening all around the world, obviously, but it is actually happening here, sort of, despite New Zealand's lefty paradise sort of reputation. And I mean, do you find it hard being so politically aware, and do you get grief for it, or people not really give a shit?
I don't think we get really too much grief for it as such. I mean, the recent situation with Barney writing to the president of Indonesia to
Yeah.
appeal the death penalty. I mean, that had mixed reactions because it's a very controversial situation subject, but
Mm.
I think it was the right thing to do. And
Definitely.
you're always going to receive comments. I mean, that's just opinion. I mean, you have to be prepared for that. I mean, I don't think we ever tried to preach with the lyrics of Napalm. It's just
Yeah.
raising subjects and awareness, and because we're all individually minded within Napalm as well. I mean, we agree, but we also disagree on certain things amongst ourselves. And
Mm.
but no, I mean, I don't think we don't get any grief. It can be slightly, well, tough's the wrong word. I mean, the band may not have advanced
Mm.
as far as perhaps it could have in the metal scene because of certain people don't like politics being mixed with music. I'm 50-50 on it as myself. I mean, Napalm is certainly, you know, always has had that input politically, and I'm fine with that. But it can be a touchy subject for some people, and So you have to be prepared to sort of take that on the chin. But we do. I mean, it's also, I think, a great benefit for us as well to do what we do and write what we write.
Yeah, I think, you know, metal needs more of it, and especially more of sort of, I mean, unapologetic bleeding heart lefty, you know, but the most I sort of see of politics tends to be quite right wing. I mean, there's some pretty nasty, you know, the NSBM movement is quite big in Australia, for example, and you know, so I think it's great. I mean, did you guys hear back from what's his name, the, the Indonesian president, Jack?
We didn't hear back. We didn't hear back. We just know we just have been led to believe that I think there's an appeal or it's gone back to court for some further analysis, which I presume can only be a good thing. I hope,
Mm.
you know. And yeah, so that's about as far as that's got really. And we were meant to play down there after New Zealand, but we didn't. The show's being moved to a later date. But yeah, we don't know too much about it, and I hope that. Being a metalhead as he supposedly is, that perhaps he can, do some sort of change to the general mentality over there. Because I mean, it's a touchy subject, but still, I think
No, he's pretty hardline. Like he's pretty pro death penalty, from what I understand, which is interesting, of course.
It is for considering he's a fan of the band and
Yeah.
various other things. Yeah, I mean, we've heard not that much really, unfortunately. So we'll see.
I mean, obviously, you touched on a lot of, you know, globalism and capitalism in the album. Is is that sort of a personal issue for you, or was that just you guys as a band decided to write that, or?
Um, I'd been writing a couple of sets of lyrics and watching documentaries really about the sort of obsolescence that we have in our lives, I guess, the disposable technologies, it were. Barney for sure is a little deeper, well, way, way deeper lyrically than I am. Within Napalm, but I kind of mentioned that around about the same time that he was talking about his concepts for Apex Predator. I think that's really where it came about from, really, and a general feeling that we feel that the world just moves at such a fast pace. There's a lot of disregard for the things that we're buying and where they're coming from, and it may be cheap, but at what price, and who's behind this all. And really, I think his idea was that the businessmen you see on the front cover of Scum are still there. Really, they're just in disguised and behind the scenes, and it was kind of a similar timing. I think his concepts were a lot deeper. I have my lyrics on hand. I can look through if you're going to ask me any more deeper questions on that. But yeah, I mean, it was similar time, really. I think it kind of came about together, but Barney took it a few more stages further. I think, really.
Well, I mean, I guess especially you've got a wee one. She must be what? How old's your daughter? Sorry.
She's like 15 months now.
15 months. Yeah. I mean, you really do start thinking a lot more about what kind of future is you are leaving for kids, and so yeah. I mean, did that change a lot of your opinions having a child, or did that sort of reinforce? I mean,
I mean,
obviously.
I think as opposed to Barney, I mean, Barney's completely on the pulse all the time.
Mm.
I'm in the middle. I'm a little negligent sometimes. I get kind of scared by if I read too much of what's going on, which is a little bit bad, really, I think. But before having my daughter, I was pretty nervous about where the world was going anyway.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because it's just a part of getting older. You just see things change, and some things you can't quite understand yourself from getting older. But the sort of level of corruption that seems prevalent still, and the whole way the way the world moves, the speed of technology, and the information, how it's misused, and also how, just from a news point of view, everything's so on the pulse that the paranoia levels are just intense, and
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I'd hear about an earthquake on the 10 o'clock news, and now you know about it 2 seconds later. Someone's tweeted it and was right, and it's just things like that just were quite terrifying. And I think it's our nature to be voyeuristic, and it's even more voyeuristic now with the tragedy of what goes on in the world. And so yeah, that's quite. I was always kind of petrified of what world I was going to bring my daughter into, really, And now I have an extra responsibility to try and hopefully ensure that she grows up to be a reasonably sane and devoid of, too much corruption in her heart, I guess,
Kids are, I've noticed it with my son, kids are naturally full of empathy and, they're selfless creatures. And so, yeah, it is sort of a responsibility. But if you let them be themselves, they tend to be quite incredible. I remember, of course, in New Zealand, we had the massive earthquakes down in Christchurch, and my son at the time was 2, and he was watching the news, and then he just sort of got up and wandered off into his room. He got back carrying a bunch of toys saying, I want to send these to the sad babies in Christchurch. This is a 2-year-old. Kids are good. It's us that fucks them up,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure, I know, but you do worry,
Of course.
and it's an extra weight on my mind, really, because I don't even know if I'm prepared for the world. And I'm 47 years old, so I don't even know how my daughter's going to feel. I try to be, try to be as strong and educational as I can, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to sort of the decentralization of news and that constantly online sort of thing, I mean, do you find that it's sort of, there's less new music, new styles, new music coming out? I mean, like, even 15 years ago when I started going to shows, you'd have metalheads, punks, and the goths all hanging out together. And now it's like, oh, I only hang out with fans that are fans of Swedish black metal. It's sort of become it's like little cliquey groups. And do you feel that is detrimental to the, I mean, grindcore obviously came out of an involvement of metal and crust, and so all of those different genres mixing in together. Am I making any sense? I mean, do you feel that the sort of constantly online, constantly is having a detriment to an actual scene as opposed to?
I think what you're saying is because things are maybe split into smaller factions. You mean?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I noticed that so much. I mean, I guess I did the social media stuff for Napalm and have my own little page and whatever, but I don't notice it so much. The scene in Birmingham from the younger kids that I know, say younger kids are like mid-20s, late 20s, they're all very supportive of each other musically. There's always kind of been that thing in Birmingham where they're not too scenesterish. But I mean, things like black metal kids. I mean, no, I mean, I was probably a little bit like that when I was growing up, when I was in Venom, whatever, freak, and wasn't very tolerant of anything else other than thrash and death metal when I was in my teens. But I think as regards new music, there's plenty of new music coming out. It's just, you have to kind of. It's easier. I think it's easier access to a lot of bands, but you still have to search for something that's really good. I think. Well, but I think things. I think I hear stuff that's interesting, from time to time, and it's hard to keep on top of it really compared to how I did like when I was younger. But the scenesters, I don't know so much about that. I don't see that myself too much really over here. Really, I noticed in the States over the past couple of years a weird thing. I think probably down to Municipal Waste and bands like that, really, where you had kids wearing dressing like crusts, and they had they reminded me of all the crust kids in the 80s, but they were wearing like heavy metal T-shirts and then discharge patches. I guess that was the new kind of thing over there, which I quite liked. I thought it was pretty interesting, and playing with those bands introduced us older fuckers to the younger breed of kids, and it was cool because they started to investigate all these older bands that they've been taught about. So that was interesting for me. But as regards to different music, more interesting music. It's out there. I mean, it's hard for. I try not to be jaded about stuff because I'm a lot older, you know. And if I listen to a band, I try not to go, oh well, that sounds like some Sabbath riff, or that sounds like that. It's you know.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Are you there?
Hello.
Hey, sorry about that. It just decided to have a tantrum. Give me a sec. Yes, okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not. I'm not so
No,
sure.
I mean, it's just sort of, I've noticed, I guess, the problem is I suspect is New Zealand is so tiny that when people do get really divided up like it is at the moment, it's really noticeable. You know, Goat Hall, for example, they played on Sunday night and there were maybe 50 people there, which is strange to me. I mean, obviously, you guys aren't going to have that problem. Napalm Death and Carcass of Wellington, the first show sold out within a couple of weeks, and you've got the second show added, which is rad. So, but it does sometimes feel a bit like clicky.
Well, I think sometimes. I don't know. With black metal's a strange thing for me because or as much as they might be black metal, they kind of veer off in other ways
Yeah.
as well. I mean, they owe more to Celtic Frost and things like that. I mean, they're all good friends of mine. Those guys, I've known them for years, so I know where they come from. But I mean, some black metal, perhaps, black metal to me was Venom, because
Yeah.
I'm older, and so there's different eras of the black metal genre, but it is. I mean, no disrespect to New Zealand, it's a smaller country. Perhaps the kids who get into black metal and they're going, well, we have to be like this. We have to be fucking, I've got to be like Burzum or whatever the fuck, and that's something they'll probably grow out of,
Yeah,
I'd
I
imagine.
mean, I guess.
Unfortunately, it kind of hurts when I'd imagine not many bands get down your neck of the woods, so it'd be nice if everybody came out and supported them when they did, because obviously through that more bands will come down anyway. You don't want someone going back and say, "Well, I went all the way down to fucking New Zealand and played to 50 people, and there's 100 people around the corner, so I'm too evil to go." It's kind of like, it's a shame, really. I guess. I don't know.
It definitely is. I mean, and that's always been a problem in New Zealand. To get bands here, it costs a fortune, so the ticket prices are higher. You see shows in the States, it's like people complaining about a $15 gig, whereas in New Zealand, you're like, what? So obviously that is part of it. But yeah, you're right. When we do get them and people don't support as well as they should, it does get, I guess, frustrating.
I mean, that's perhaps it's like a different attitude, because I know that in the early '90s, when you were playing in Eastern Bloc countries, for Eastern countries, Prague, whatever, Czech Republic, whatever, there would be massive turnouts, but I'm pretty sure that probably 50% of the crowd wasn't that really into that, was Napalm or Obituary, but they went because it was a show,
Yeah,
and it was a communion of like-minded individuals. And I would have assumed that in New Zealand, when there's not many shows, you just get all together and go down there and kind of support the scene, so to speak. That's kind of what we always do. In Birmingham, you get that quite a lot, where we live. So
I guess that's sort of the bringing back to our original point. That's where the division comes in. Like, yeah, I'd go to shows and there'd be fucking goths there, metalheads, punks. Everyone would go because we were such a small group of people that would support each other's bands. Whereas it doesn't seem to happen, and I'm just wondering if it's a global phenomena or it's just.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think it is. No,
yeah.
no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Certainly not over here. I mean, there's different age groups for sure, but I know some of the bigger shows I've been to here. I mean, you'll still see a lot of old school people come out and support the bands. I don't notice it so much in England for sure, and certainly not in Germany and places like that. There's a big cross section of people at our gigs anyway. I mean, there's got all manner of punks, metalheads, and noise kids hanging out. So it's all good. But I would like to think that as I said, repeating myself, in somewhere like New Zealand, you don't get many shows. You come and support the scene. It would be
Well, it's
more beneficial if they did,
yeah, and I mean, obviously, when you guys get here, it's definitely going to be a huge show. The ticket sales have already proven that. So it's just interesting that yeah. Also, I was reading. It's been. I'm going to butcher the name. Brujeria.
Brujeria, yeah, yeah.
Brujeria. Uh,
I can't pronounce it very well, and I've been in the band forever, so it's like,
yeah. I mean, there's been rumors of a new album for the past 15 odd years, and I've heard it's it's coming out this year. Is this still happening, or?
I hope so. It was meant to be finished now and coming out in May, but true to Brujeria fashion, it got fucked up. And yeah, I mean, the music's been recorded for a few years now. I mean, we recorded this album 3 times. There were some fucking Guns N' Roses, to be honest. And but yeah, I mean, everything's ready to be mixed, I hope. And if it gets finished in May, which it should do, then I'm hoping it's going to be released September, which is the new date that I've been told. So yeah, I mean, an album does exist. It's not a fabrication of our drug-induced memories. Well, we don't do any of that kind of naughty stuff anymore. But I mean, it does exist. Yeah, and hopefully it'll come out in September.
Is it going to be thematically? I mean, is it obviously it's been 15 years? Is it going to be the same sort of thing, or have you tried much new? I hear there's a female vocals as well.
Yeah, I mean, she appeared on the third album, the girl
Yeah.
Petites, and she sings on the record as well. I mean, musically, it was a strange one because, I mean, obviously Dino was the main riffmeister in Brujeria. I wrote some stuff on the very first album, and I was kind of this token white member in the band, which is now expanded to a few token white members. And so what I tried to do with the songs I wrote was stay true to what I believed Brujeria was about. I've actually come to appreciate Brujeria's the third album a lot more, but initially I thought it was a little bit too Fear Factory-fied, originally. So I tried to bring some of the blastier stuff from the earlier stuff. I tried the more upbeat, crazy stuff. So there's a lot of that, but there's a lot of heavy grooves in there as well, and obviously Jeff from Carcass plays it in the band with me. So he wrote a tasty little song, and yeah, I mean, I think I would like to think. I hope it's worth all the fucking years it took to put together. But yeah,
well, it's exciting no matter what.
Hopefully we get out this year. I hope so.
Is there any chance of you guys touring with it? I know Brujeria doesn't play. You've done a few shows, obviously, but
we do play from time to time. I can't always play with a band, so we have a guitarist to fill in there. But and also then sometimes there's two guitarists. But we would certainly like to do some shows to promote it. I think that's on the cards. And it'd be lovely to get down, Australia, your neck of the woods. I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, we plan to play when we can,
Oh, awesome! I'm pretty excited that it's actually happening.
Well, I mean, it's the songs are there. I mean, I have them all on my laptop as we speak, but they're just unmixed.
Yeah.
But it'll hopefully call it Mexican Democracy. Probably. No, it's not called that, but. It should be. It should be. No, but no, it'll come out this year. I hope. Fingers crossed.
I mean, is it? I guess everyone uses pseudonyms. Is it going to be? I mean, Mexico at the moment, things are pretty fucked. Is it safe, perhaps, to be releasing? Has that been part of the non?
Well, I think lyrically, it's probably not as intense as maybe the earlier recordings. But we do go down there. We've got some shows coming up in May where there are times when we're driving for 6 to 7 hours in the desert, which gets a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, it's a strange one, I guess. But we play shows there all the time. We've been fine, I mean, yes, there's problems down there, there's situations, but also media, can be a little bit over influential on things like that. But obviously, it's a scary place. It can be.
Oh yeah, I mean, they still don't know what happened to the 53 students. Was sort of the one that got the international interest, I guess, because they were middle class, But but I mean, it's a pretty dangerous place from what I understand. So I always just sort of thought Brujeria is quite brave in doing what they did.
Well, we played a lot of shows down there over the years, and touch wood, we'll be okay in May when we go there. I hope so.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think I've never experienced anything too crazy down there. So.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any? I mean, obviously we've gone 10 minutes over the allotted time. Is there anything you wanted to add? Do your promo spiel to sell those last few tickets to the shows, or?
I don't know. I mean, well, it's nice that we sold out the first show, so that's pretty cool. I think that might have been the place we played last time in 2007. I'm not so sure, but yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to coming down, and hanging out and spending some time. I'm gonna be there for, especially nice because we're doing 2 shows down there.
3.
So we can hang out. And I said I had probably the best fish and chips ever in Wellington. So I'm looking. I know it's a bit of a poor thing to say, really, but there you go. I'm a simple man. But so yeah, but we're looking forward to coming down. It'd be great. It's been too long, really.
Yeah.
Going to be quite a mixed set, of songs from all albums, well, as many albums as we can within the time we've got, And fingers crossed, I might be able to get an ex-Napalm guitarist on stage with us. So I'm hoping I can do that, while we're there. But we'll see if I can do it or not. He's not committing himself just yet. I'm going to twist his arm and feed him whiskey. Yeah. But we're looking forward to coming down. So hopefully, it'd be nice if the second one sells out as well. But it'd be great. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, besides the fact that I'm a completely insane Hobbit geek, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So those sad bastards is going to be, traipsing off into the fucking snowy Alps or whatever. I don't know, But
hey, I'm looking forward. Lord of the Rings Risk, so I'm with you on the.
I mean, when we played Wellington the first time, I've followed Peter Jackson since he did Brain Dead and Bad Taste, so I was like flipping out, looking at the streets, going, God, I'm sure that's where he filmed that one scene. Probably didn't, but there you go. So I'm looking forward to coming down for many, many, many reasons.
Awesome.
It's a great place. I mean, so far away, you don't get the chance to come down. So I count myself quite lucky that I'm getting a free ticket in some respects. So
yeah, well, I mean, when you joined Napalm Death in '87, did you think, hey, I'm going to make a career out of grindcore and travel to fucking New Zealand and it was that part
I've said this a few times over the past couple of weeks because. Last week or the week before, I got invited to DJ John. Well, he's passed away now. John Peel's house. I got invited down there to put together a musical box from his record collection based on what I grew up on. I grew up on early rock and metal, blah blah, and how I became to Napalm Death. But I'd never believed that I got invited to John Peel's house to stare through 30,000 vinyl LPs, and meet his wife and talk about music, and then. A few weeks previous to that, I just finished a tour sharing a bus with Voivod, who were one of my favourite bands ever, and then Jello Biafra from Dead Kennedys came on stage and did Nazi Punk's Fuck Off. So there's so many things over the years I'm very lucky to have done. And it's what I always wanted to do as a kid, being a band. It's quite cliche and cheesy, but that's what I wanted to do. So, but you still have to pinch yourself and go, bloody hell, I've travelled the world making this music, and so I'm very happy and lucky to be here, and don't take it for granted. So, but I am extremely looking forward to coming down to Australia and New Zealand again. Can't wait. Got a lot of friends down there, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. I mean, it isn't luck. It's you've got to be one of the most hardworking people. Like, looking over the bio, how many bands are you in at the moment? Venomous Concept just did the Japan shows and.
Yeah, we just finished a new Venomous Concept album actually as well. That's going to come out maybe in the next few months. So I've got that. I'm working on the new Lockup record with Nick Barker next week. I keep busy. Try to, it keeps all my hair from falling out. So it's but I decided a long time ago that this is what I wanted to do. So just went for it really. But it's still a bit of luck in the earlier days. In some respects, lucky to met the people I met and forged a good working friendship with them. Because when you're in a band this long, it is like a marriage. You fall out and all that kind of shit. So they put up with me as much as I put up with them. So to make it work, so it's cool. It's a nice place. So yeah, looking forward to coming down.
Did you did you record the new Venomous Concept in Atlanta or?
We actually recorded it in Russ Russell's studio, the guy who works on the Napalm albums. Recorded it there, and then we tried doing some vocals with Kevin last year after some Brutal Truth shows, but his voice was a little bit fucked. So he did the vocals in Atlanta, which turned out really good. And so he just sent them over to us. We put them in, and we mixed it. This album, it's a straight up kind of punk band. It is what it is. But we've tried a few different things for Venomous, and there's two guitarists on this band. Dan Lilker wrote some songs, so it's got a nice. This is when you do project albums. The first one was just me writing all the songs, and it's cool, but it's nice when everyone involves themselves because then you get like different ideas. They bounce off each other, and this album I think is a better step forward because when you listen to it, it sounds more like a complete band, because Lilker's playing his bass lines and we're not all completely in time with each other, so it makes it sound better, for me personally.
Yeah.
But I don't drink anymore, unfortunately. But I imagine if you had a few pints, it'd be a good record to listen to. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I like it. I've spoken to Kevin a few times. He's a lovely guy, and I was always more of a Brutal Truth are great, but I was actually more of a fan of Primate, and Venomous Concept is a lot of fun as well. So yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. I think the album hopefully might be out before the summer. Fingers crossed. For us. So we'll see. We'll see. It depends when the label, because I've got the label in mind that wants to put it out. It's just when they want to put it out, really. I have these albums in place to sort of come out at separate times, but inevitably they always end up coming out at the same fucking time. I don't know what to do with myself, but I think people will like it. It's a good mixture of mid-80s influenced Discharge, Japanese hardcore, and Kevin screaming his head off like a demented walrus. Really. So it's good.
Sounds about right, yeah.
It's good stuff.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to having you in New Zealand, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm sorry. I have to admit to have been incredibly nervous about interviewing you. It's sort of like you've been in Napalm Death since just after I was born, and it's kind of you've been so influential, and it's just weird talking to someone whose poster's on my wall.
Oh, poor you, dear me. Take that off. I've been around a while, I guess, but don't be nervous. It's hard understanding my babbling English accent, I've been told. So there you go.
Don't worry, my stepfather's from Liverpool, from Bootle.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I have to translate for him to my friends.
Probably worse than the Brummie accent. Then again, I don't know. The Brummie accent gets a bad rap. We're looking forward to coming down. So please say hi when I'm down there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And have a great evening for you. Must be now. Getting late.
It's about 1 in the morning, so I'm probably going to look at some gossip on the movie news, see what stupid movie's coming out I can go and watch next week or whatever, and then go to bed, probably.
Yeah, I just checked out Dead Snow 2, which is a lot of fun.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Cool.
Brilliant. Have a great night.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye.